It finally happened. Elon Musk has revealed an incredibly cheap home that is affordable for sustainable living. Yet given Elon Musk's status, that appears conflicting with what one might expect from a tycoon. You know what? The man is a totally different person. Even Musk personally lives in a Tesla home that is even cheaper. By the end of this video, you will know if this house is for you or not. Join me today in this video as we explore Elon Musk's new $15,000 Tesla house. Well, Elon's bag has never been empty, in actuality. Before Tesla was successful in making electric cars available for purchase by the general public, they supplied 3,100 Roadsters for an approximate price of $109,000. He started a production line at his firm in San Francisco to build a new model of car. Before we start, first clear your mind with the tiny house movement. There is presently a 100,000 units shortlisted for the residences because of their popularity. The tiny house movement supports modest small housing. Small houses often range in size from 100 to 400 square feet. The majority of tiny homes are constructed on trucks, so they can be relocated easily. They can be utilized as vacation homes or vacation rentals as a guest house in addition to their common use as permanent residences. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, is currently considering the possibility of postponing his work on developing electric automobiles by focusing on a recent favorite project. One such initiative that might turn out to be the future breakthrough in the real estate and housing industries is the creation of moderately priced homes. It is just wow, how a human brain could think so big. We are all surprised now that a Tesla is traveling across Australia in a tiny apartment that is entirely run by renewable power. Here are some things to consider if you're thinking about buying a Tesla tiny house. There are some aspects you should be aware of if you're interested in a little casita. First off, there is a 100,000 unit list for the dwellings at the moment. Second, just a few markets can purchase the residences. I know what you're thinking. Why are people interested in these tiny houses? Well, here's the answer. People are attracted to living in tiny homes for a variety of reasons. Some people wish to live smaller, simpler lifestyles. Others are drawn to tiny homes because of their affordable ownership costs and environmental friendliness. And some individuals simply find them to be quite cute and adorable. Moreover, who doesn't want to live in such a safe and eco-friendly house? The tiny house movement has received a lot of support for Elon Musk's buying of a boxable tiny house. That person chose to live simply in a modest place, even though they were highly affluent and could purchase whatever type of home they want. Others may be encouraged to think about doing the same by this. Let's jump to the history of this tiny house of $15,000. In March and April 2014, Tesla reported spending $2.6 billion to Solar City. After that, it unveiled its brand new solar-powered product, the electric wall, leaving the businessman to wonder where he plans to use all these solar panels. Musk created a $50,000 Lone Star in Boca Chica, Texas. So it's not the rich or lavish residence you might imagine from a billionaire on Twitter. The state acknowledged its unexpected action. Business insiders claim that after the Tesla CEO announced publicly that he wanted to simplify his living, he sold all 7 of his California residences in June 2020 and November 2021, netting roughly $128 million. The report states that a profit of around $250 million was made. Their epic fall spending spree came to an end when they sold their $16,000 square foot property in Hillsborough, California, with 7 rooms and bathrooms, as well as a grand ballroom and flexible library shelves for $30 million. A classy cocktail bar was present. You all are thinking what the cost of such a simple electronic and unique foldable box would be, right? Tesla, a well-known company, appears to have some thoughts on affordable housing. It doesn't sound natural, yes, a sustainable home for $15,000, considering how expensive their other product offerings are. The company states that the house has the weight of 2 tons with 6 by 2 by 4 meters in dimensions. Its solar memory is 1 Tesla power wall and solar energy for 2 kilowatt-hours photovoltaic system for 6 panels. So how is this mobile house working? The battery system, a rechargeable lithium-ion battery intended to self-consume solar energy and lessen reliance on solar panels, is the key component of this Tesla tiny house. A Tesla mobile workshop and configurator are housed inside the small home. Future Tesla tiny house owners will receive training from it on how to build a solar storage system for energy for their houses. The tiny solar power plant that powers Tesla House provides all of its electricity. That is pretty astonishing. The house also has a configurator that enables you to determine how the apartment can produce clean solar energy using solar cells. The Powerwall stores the energy so that it can be utilized all day and night. A specific Tesla app can be used to manage energy flow and efficiency. Not only this, with no electrical cables or hot holes, the Powerwall is perfect for kids and pets. Up to 10 units can be set next to one another on the floor, and the network can be wall-mounted. The energy system is waterproof no matter where it is mounted. Almost silent operation, much quieter and softer than generators. Stop wondering about what would be inside this tiny house. Here is something you are all eager to hear. Tesla Tiny House has environmentally friendly wood cladding, a complete kitchen including cabinets, a refrigerator, a washer, and a microwave. Yes, there is a window over the sink. A bathroom with a large counter, folding glass barn door, and deep bathtub. 375 square feet of living space with over 9 feet of ceilings, large doors and windows. A Boxable includes heating and air conditioning as well. Isn't this just incredible? Actually, the structure is made to be extremely durable and never break down. Steel, foam, and concrete are essential components, and they are all tough materials. It can withstand hurricane force winds. There is no drywall or wood, thus there is no water damage or mold. The Boxable is made of non-flammable materials, yet nothing is completely fireproof. Homes that can be folded into shipping containers constructed in factories are basically Boxable homes. Therefore, it's not too difficult to determine what's inside the strange house made of steel, foam, and concrete. Years of development were required before they could decide which materials wouldn't damage the walls. Due to the laminated sheet construction of the floors and roof, they may be moved on public roads. Yes, the Tesla houses are also Boxable homes. Shipping and packaging are included in the cost. Other features must be paid for separately. Drainage, electricity, and air conditioning are already installed and connected to the house. This little house only has one story. By fusing more modules with the living area, you can add more. The home has a studio layout and is completely equipped. A home has a small carbon footprint, which is measured in carbon dioxide equivalent and represents all greenhouse gas or GHG emissions. From an individual, event, organization, service, or product, you can place your house wherever you like in this fashion. The CEO of Boxable is Paolo Tiramani. The business announced in a YouTube video that it has just built a casita home in Boca Chica for a well-known and top-secret client in November 2021. Although no one was mentioned in the film, Boca Chica was a rather peaceful and quiet location prior to Elon Musk and SpaceX establishing a presence there. So it didn't take long for anyone to realize that Elon Musk's Boxable casita in Boca Chica had been delivered. The founder of Boxable, Galliano Tiramani, claims that there are a variety of reasons why house building has not yet operated in production. Thus, we have investigated and fixed all the issues. He also thinks that the difficulties with shipping logistics are shared by other producers of prefab homes. The goal is that this will be directed at additional housing units, which are rising in popularity in California. Boxable made the decision to create the company in 2017 as a result of this spark. It aspires to industrialize building construction around the world into a production line. Similar to any other object you can produce, a house would be built, brought to your site, and set up within an hour. While some activities during unboxing require heavy apparatus, most of the unboxing could be done by humans. When the outside wall is opened, the other side walls can be seen and the outer wall transforms into the floor. The entire building is covered once the roof is opened. A tiny apartment in a package for 1 or 2 people. It has been engineered to be both energy and environmentally friendly. Your regular energy bills will be as low as possible thanks to the use of the low energy innovation, to guarantee that the dwellings Boxable constructed were made of elements that would not decay. The company spent years prototyping. The fact that even Elon Musk wished to live there shows how great the home architecture is. Musk is currently residing in a 37 square meter studio. His home was built to be boxed. It is a new construction company that specializes in residential units that are simple to install. A mobile home costs $15,000 to purchase. The cost of landscaping, permits, and other utility connections are not included in this sum. Musk has the resources to finish the specifics of his plans and advance modular housing. Musk no longer owns lavish ships and mansions worth millions of dollars. In contrast to the majority of the world's billionaires, he has wanted to live this way for a long time. It appears that Musk has no regrets about his choice. When asked about a small house in Texas, he posted his response. We are all aware that Musk's decision to halt Bitcoin transactions for Tesla vehicles is motivated by his concern for the environment. Since he considers sustainability as one of Tesla's guiding principles, his desire to reside in a little home is understandable. Casita Galliano Tiramani, the startup company's chief of business development, and their primary product, Home, are based outside of Los Angeles. Alternatives to Boxable claim to have invested years in development and research. The Tesla CEO is happy that he found a way to quickly construct high-quality, inexpensive housing. In fact, the firm already has 2 of these residences close to the Starbase region. Despite its diminutive size and low cost, Tesla headquarters is not inexpensive in terms of quality. The sidewalls, floors, and roofs of the units are functionally laminated with panels composed of steel and EPS foam, which will not distort and last a lifetime. Boxable Tesla houses assert that their modest residence is incredibly energy efficient. The implementation of LED lighting and technology promotes resident comfort while conserving resources. These houses are robust, snow-resistant in 90% of North America, and retrofittable to suit the other 10%. Compared to traditional homes, tiny houses typically consume less energy and have smaller footprints, which is better for the environment. According to the manufacturer, they are far more durable than the typical building composed of magnesium oxide wallboard. These environmentally friendly materials for mold and mildew resistance, as well as fire resistance, are made to withstand extreme weather conditions like hurricanes. First, it is already known that Musk desires to visit and settle Mars. As per Inc. magazine, he is trying out the Boxable tiny house as the foundation for a home on Mars. Even the barren environment surrounding the SpaceX facility has a Mars-like quality to it. Second, you might believe that Musk is simply upgrading minimalism. However, that way of existence is essential for surviving on another world. I suppose things kind of drag you down, he added. Actually, Elon Musk's drastic downsizing into a tiny residence isn't just a curiosity. He's trying out his dream existence. Although Musk exposed one that didn't even lament the small box house, which is now functioning as the Tesla CEO's principal house, it is excellent to have a tiny boxable casita on such a land. They have departed from this modular mega mansion. What do you think about Musk's new $15,000 home?
So, I think the one thing that we can be quite certain of is that any predictions we make today for what the future will be like in 50 years will be wrong. Essentially, when I was a kid, I was wondering kind of what's the meaning of life? Like, why are we here? What's it all about? And I came to the conclusion that what really matters is trying to understand the right questions to ask. And the more that we can increase the scope and scale of human consciousness, the better we are able to ask these questions. And so I think that there's certain things that are necessary to ensure that the future is good. Some of those things are, in the long term, having long-term sustainable transport and sustainable energy generation. To be a space-faring civilization, and for humanity to be out there among the stars and be a multi-planetary species. I think being a multi-planet species and being out there among the stars is important for the long-term survival of humanity. And that's one reason, kind of like life insurance for life collectively, life as we know it. But then the part that I find personally most motivating is that it creates a sense of adventure, and it makes people excited about the future. If you consider 2 futures, one where we are forever confined to Earth until eventually something terrible happens, or another future where we are out there on many planets, maybe even going beyond the solar system, I think that second version is incredibly exciting and inspiring, and there need to be reasons to get up in the morning. Life can't just be about solving problems. Otherwise, what's the point? There's got to be things that people find inspiring and make life worth living. I think particularly when you see the advancement of something like video games, like say 40 years ago, you had video games. The most advanced video game would be like Pong, where you had like two rectangles and a dot. You're like batting it back and forth.
I played it.
Oh yeah, like me too, exactly. I
That's
played
all.
Pong. Exactly. It sort of dates you a little bit, but yeah, we both played the same game, and that was like, wow, that was a pretty fun game at the time. But now you can see a video game that's photorealistic, almost photorealistic, and millions of people playing simultaneously, and you see where things are going with virtual reality and augmented reality, and if you extrapolate that out into the future with any rate of progress at all, like even 0.1% or something like that a year, then eventually those games will be indistinguishable from reality. They'll be so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it. And then it seems like, well, how do we know that that didn't happen in the past? And that we're not in one of those games ourselves? It's been incredibly difficult to predict these things in the past, even the relatively recent past. So I think the one thing that we can be quite certain of is that any predictions we make today for what the future will be like in 50 years will be wrong.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I mean, I think directionally, I can tell you what I hope the future has, as opposed to maybe what it will be, because this may just be wishful thinking. I mean, I hope we are out there on Mars and maybe beyond Mars, the moons of Jupiter. I hope we're traveling frequently throughout the solar system, perhaps preparing for missions to nearby star systems. I think all of this is possible within 50 years. And I think that would be very exciting to do that. And I think we'll see autonomy and artificial intelligence advance tremendously. I think that's actually quite near term. My guess is in probably 10 years, it will be very unusual for cars to be built that are not fully autonomous. 10 years.
10 years from now.
Yeah. I think almost all cars built will be capable of full autonomy in about 10 years. Absolutely. I think in general, there's a lot of discussion of like this problem or that problem, and a lot of people are sad about the future and that they're pessimistic, and I think this is not great. I mean, we really want to wake up in the morning and look forward to the future. We want to be excited about what's going to happen. And life cannot simply be about sort of solving one miserable problem after another.
So if you look forward 30 years, this year, the year 2050 has been labeled by scientists as this kind of almost like this doomsday deadline on climate. There's a consensus of scientists, a large consensus of scientists who believe that if we haven't completely eliminated greenhouse gases or offset them completely by 2050, effectively we're inviting climate catastrophe. Do you believe there is a pathway to avoid that catastrophe, and what would it look like?
Yeah. So I am not one of the doomsday people, which may surprise. I actually think we're on a good path. But at the same time, I want us to caution against complacency. So long as we are not complacent, as long as we have a high sense of urgency about moving towards a sustainable energy economy, then I think things will be fine. So I can't emphasize that enough. So long as we push hard and are not complacent, the future's going to be great. Don't worry about it. I mean, worry about it, but if you worry about it, ironically, it will be a self-unfulfilling prophecy. There are three elements to a sustainable energy future. One is obviously sustainable energy generation, which is primarily wind and solar. There's also hydro, geothermal. I'm actually pro-nuclear. I think nuclear is fine.
But it's going to be primarily solar and wind as the primary generators of energy. The second part is you need batteries to store the solar and wind energy, because the sun doesn't shine all the time, the wind doesn't blow all the time. So you need a lot of stationary battery packs. And then you need electric transport. So electric cars, electric planes, boats. And then ultimately, it's not really possible to make electric rockets, but you can make the propellant used in rockets using sustainable energy.
Right.
So ultimately, we can have a fully sustainable energy economy, and it's those three things: solar, wind, stationary battery pack, electric vehicles. So then, what are the limiting factors on progress? The limiting factor really will be battery cell production. So that's going to really be the fundamental rate driver. And then whatever the slowest element of the whole lithium-ion battery cells supply chain, from mining and the many steps of refining to ultimately creating a battery cell and putting it into a pack, that will be the limiting factor on progress towards sustainability. People should be optimistic about the future. Humanity will solve sustainable energy. It will happen. If we are, continue to push hard, the future is bright and good from an energy standpoint. And then it will be possible to also use that energy to do carbon sequestration. It takes a lot of energy to pull carbon out of the atmosphere, because in putting it in the atmosphere, it releases energy. So now,
right.
Obviously, in order to pull it out, you need to use a lot of energy. But if you've got a lot of sustainable energy from wind and solar, you can actually sequester carbon, so you can reverse the CO2 parts per million of the atmosphere and oceans. And also, you can really have as much fresh water as you want. Earth is mostly water. We should call Earth water. It's 70% water by surface area. Now, most of that's seawater, but it's like we just happen to be on the bit that's land.
Right. And with energy, you can turn seawater into
yes,
irrigating water or
yes,
whatever water.
Absolutely.
You need. Yeah.
At very low cost. Things will be good.
Things will be good.
Yes. It will be a world of abundance. The only scarcity that will exist in the future is that which we decide to create ourselves as humans.
Okay, so AI is allowing us to imagine a differently powered economy that will create this abundance. What are you most worried about going wrong?
Well, like I said, AI and robotics will bring out what might be termed the age of abundance. Other people have used this word. And that this is my prediction. It'll be an age of abundance for everyone. I guess there's the dangers would be the artificial general intelligence or digital superintelligence decouples from a collective human will and goes in a direction that for some reason we don't like, whatever direction it might go. That's sort of the idea behind Neuralink is to try to more tightly couple collective human will to digital superintelligence, and also along the way solve a lot of brain injuries and spinal injuries and that kind of thing. So even if it doesn't succeed in the greater goal, I think it will succeed in the goal of alleviating brain and spine damage.
We're trying to dig a hole under LA, and this is to create the beginning of what will hopefully be a 3D network of tunnels to alleviate congestion. So, right now, I think one of the most soul-destroying things is traffic. It affects people in every part of the world. It takes away so much of your life, and it's horrible. It's particularly horrible in LA.
I think you've brought with you the first visualization that's been shown of this. Can I show this?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the first time, we're just to sort of show what we're talking about. So there are a couple of key things that are important in having a 3D tunnel network. First of all, you have to be able to integrate the entrance and exit of the tunnel seamlessly into the fabric of the city. So by having an an elevator, sort of a car skate that's on an elevator. You can integrate the entrance and exits to the tunnel network just by using 2 parking spaces. And then the car gets on a skate. There's no speed limit here, so we're designing this to be able to operate at 200 kilometers an hour, about 200 kilometers an hour, or about 130 miles per hour.
And so you've got this vision then, future cities with these rich 3D networks of tunnels underneath. Is there a tie-in here with Hyperloop? Could you apply these tunnels to use for this Hyperloop idea you released a few years ago?
Yeah, so we've been sort of puttering around with the Hyperloop stuff for a while. We built a Hyperloop test track adjacent to SpaceX just for a student competition to encourage innovative ideas in transport. It actually ends up being the biggest vacuum chamber in the world after the Large Hadron Collider by volume. So it was sort of quite fun to do that, but it was kind of a hobby thing. And then we think we might. So we developed a little pusher car to push the student pods, but we're going to try seeing how fast we can make the pusher go if it's not pushing something. So, I mean, like, sort of cautiously optimistic we'll be able to be faster than the world's fastest bullet train, even in a 0.8 mile stretch.
Whoa. Good brakes.
Yeah. I mean, it's either going to smash into tiny pieces or.
But you can picture then a Hyperloop in a tunnel,
yes,
running quite long distances.
Exactly. So in looking at tunneling technology, it turns out that in order to make a tunnel, you have to, in order to seal against the water table, you've got to typically design a tunnel wall to be a good to about 5 or 6 atmospheres. So to go to vacuum is only 1 atmosphere, or near vacuum. So actually, it sort of turns out that automatically, if you build a tunnel that is good enough to resist the water table, it is automatically capable of holding vacuum.
So based on this, you presented recently this interplanetary transport system, which is visualized this way. And this is a scene you picture in 30 years' time, 20 years' time, right? People walking into this rocket.
I mean, I'm hopeful it's sort of in the 8 to 10 year time frame. Aspirationally, that's our target. Our internal targets are more aggressive, but I think,
Okay. So
this vehicle seems quite large, and is large by comparison with other rockets. I think the future spacecraft will make this look like a rowboat. I mean, this is the future spaceships will be truly enormous. Yeah, I think it's important to have a future that is inspiring and appealing. I mean, I just think that there have to be reasons that you get up in the morning and you want to live. Like, why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future? And if we're not out there, if the future does not include being out there among the stars and being a multi-planet species, I find that it's incredibly depressing if that's not the future that we're going to have.